All right, let's go. Let's go. Let's get started real quick, guys, and then I will post up the links and we'll get started. So we're gonna kick off the session with me going over some things with Mark. If you guys aren't familiar with Mark, Mark is the K2 member that's running the London group. So we're gonna show him how I mark up the charts with the K2SR zone. So let me just send out this link real quick, guys, so we can have everyone join in. Oops. That's sent out there. There. And then we'll post this on the Facebook real quick. And then also send it to all the members' emails real quick. And guys, it's already December 20th. This year has literally flown by. This month has flown by too, because I feel like the last session we had was on the 13th. Yeah, exactly a week ago. And this year is literally flying by us. So guys, if you guys are new here, basically the weekly chart analysis, what I do is I mark up all of these zones for you guys so that you guys know exactly, where to trade and where not to trade. But like I mentioned, I'm gonna hop on this session with Mark real quick, the K2 member that is running the London session. I'm gonna show him how do I mark up the charts for UK 100, just so that Mark can use that for our back test for our new strategies that we're currently developing. So let me send this over to Mark real quick. Let Mark hop into this room. And then once he's in, we can get started with that. And then I can get started with the chart analysis as well. But I think one last place I need to post this on the Instagram. And then we can get started, guys. So let me just screenshot this, copy this, post this on the Instagram real quick. Yeah, we're still waiting for Mark anyways. So let me give it some time. Post this up right there. Get that swipe up button going. All right, so it looks like Mark's here. I'm gonna let Mark in the room real quick. Got it on the IG real quick. I think we're good to go. Hey, Mark, how's it going?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I could hear you. Could you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
All right, perfect, bro. So yeah, I was just telling you guys that I was going to go over, marking up the zones for Mark over here so Mark can see how we do it for UK 100. If you guys aren't familiar with Mark, he's the guy that's running the K2 member that's running the London group. So, you can thank all of the UK 100 wins to Mark and, the team over there with Alkin, Spencer, and Jazz. So let me pull up UK 100 real quick. Hey, Mark, so how was that back test going this weekend? I saw that you guys were having some pretty good results.
Overall, the results are good. It has bloody moments, but the end of the month, it's always positive.
Definitely, right? Yeah. So it becomes a numbers game pretty much at that point where you literally just need to take all the available entries and then it can, it'll end up playing out in the long run. So you wanted to look at the 1 hour charts, right? Or the 1 hour zones, I mean?
Yeah, because I wasn't getting anything on 4 hour.
Yeah.
So I was just looking at the 1 hour and trying to see the if we played it based off of supports and resistances as well. Because I was looking at it and it was looking pretty good.
Yeah, just looking at it right here, just from like, a quick view of it, it actually looks really nice. Like it's pretty smooth and it looks like it respects these zones like pretty nicely. So yeah, for first, I'm just gonna pull up the 1 hour chart. I turn the K2SR indicator. And then from this point, I basically just draw my zones over the K2SR zone. So I draw one zone up here, draw another one right here. So this is where it gets a a little iffy because I'm sure this is probably what confuses you as well, like whether you should connect these as one big zone or to connect, two separate zones here. And in reality, it's not a huge difference, because just looking at it right here, you can either have these two zones right here, or you can just connect them, and they still look, perfectly fine right there. I think it'd probably be best to have the bigger zones for the higher time frames. That way you have some cushion right there with entering trades. But for like right here, I'd connect these two down here, and then these right here, and then lastly, obviously the bottom one down here. And that's crazy. Did this drop just happen like when the market reopened?
Yeah. So since the new COVID there's a new strain of it, and
Yeah.
everybody's canceling all flights to the UK. It's about to just die.
Damn, this thing is still dropping, dude. This is crazy.
It's about to die.
Literally, you can literally just short this and then just write it down. But yeah, here I marked up the zones on the 1 hour. Obviously since we trade on the 10-minute, it looks like it respects it pretty nicely. Just looking at it from here. Yeah, so it looks like if you were to mark it up on the 1 hour, it looks like it respects it pretty nice. The thing with this right here, this huge drop, I would probably, wait for it to stabilize before you probably try to enter something, because, yeah, I mean, obviously it's going to keep dropping, but people are probably going to try to buy the dip at some point, looks like. Yeah, but did you see how I did it on the 1 hour? It was pretty simple.
Yeah, it was just so many, like, too close, and I was like, well, do we add them? Do we not? And then what I was looking at is, like, once I marked it up on the 1 hour, I went to the 10-minute and turned on the indicators as well.
Yeah.
And every time that it bounced off of it and we got like a buy or a sell off of it.
Yeah, it looks like here on the 10 minutes, there's a lot more noise compared to the the 1 hour, because it looks like there's way too many lines on the 10 minutes. So I probably wouldn't draw on the 10-minute, but the 1 hour actually looks pretty solid. Just hiding the indicator right here and then having these 1 hour zones drawn on the UK 100. They look like they bounce off pretty nice. Let me see if I turn the momentum indicator. Yeah, it's perfect right here. So like this rejection off this point, followed by a sell signal, push down pretty nice right here. Same situation again right here. It rejected off this point, got a sell signal, and then it ended up coming down pretty nicely as well. So I think this is pretty solid if you draw them on the 1 hour and then just pretty much draw these, mark up the zones and then figure out where the rejection point happens. Basically like how I do for the US 30 trades.
So look at that buy right there, boy.
Yeah, look at this rejection right here, bro. It's a nice rejection off that point, buy signal, and then it pushes up so heavy. I think if you're able to identify the nice rejection points, like exactly on the zone, and it's followed by, buy or a sell signal, it pushes up pretty nice. Dang, this could be another strategy that we could be developing next.
I was trying to combine both of them to see if I could make it work like that, but
yeah, well, that's pretty much how I do with the US 30. I usually don't, like, the zones aren't required, but I like drawing them just to see if there's like a rejection point, just how we looked at right here. And if it's followed by a sell signal, it usually plays out pretty nicely. So that might be an extra confirmation to use. I mean, it's not 100% necessary, but it could definitely help to better the odds. Because that'd be the main thing. Like you figured out that if you do every trade long term, it'll play out. But yeah, definitely if you incorporate the zones, that can probably increase the win rate, and we could probably avoid some of these fake out trades. So looks pretty good to me.
All right, we'll go ahead and use that too.
Definitely. Are you going to take the UK 100 today?
Maybe, probably not. Not with this kind of news. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, with all this happening, it's gonna be really rocky, because the thing is, if you get a buy signal, it's probably not gonna play out. And then if you get a sell signal, it's probably be a rocky way down, because people are probably gonna try to go, both directions. But I mean, we'll see how that plays out. It's probably gonna affect the US market as well. Let me check US 30 real quick. And yeah, US 30 is kind of all over the place as well, it looks like. So
good God.
It's gonna be a messy first day of trading. I definitely see that happening, because like market opened right here on the 20th, It's dropped, let's see. Yeah, it already dropped like nearly 1,600 pips since market open. It's probably going to continue dropping even more. So we'll see how that plays out on that 1 hour chart. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I guess we'll check this out in a bit. So yeah, is there anything else you want to cover before I start the chart analysis?
No. Everything's good. It's just I know that some people have been recognized. We've been working our ass off on that UK 100 trade.
Yeah, man, those results have been crazy, dude. I'm gonna have to start staying up with you guys and trade London session because your guys' results are they're remarkable, bro. And then you tie those in with the US 30 trades, it makes a huge difference. You know, because we basically double up our profits. Instead of just having the US 30, we'll have that plus UK 100, and it's just, and the possibilities are just crazy. I was talking with David about it as well because we're starting to back test the US 30 to see what the overall, you know, win rate is if we just let it run to full TP or full stop loss, and it's been pretty good. So that might be the deal where I'm just going to start running the trades and letting them run to full TP or stop loss rather than, you know, taking TP1. So we'll see.
Well, that's how I run it. I don't really usually take TP. I'll usually just let it run the whole way.
Yeah, definitely, and especially
that's just how I trade.
Exactly, and now that we're doing the back test and we're trying to get, you know, all this data in, it definitely you know, gives us that confidence to just let it run instead of, you know, cutting profits early. Because the thing is, if we just keep hitting full TP and we have like one of those hot weeks, like we've been having, I guess, the past 3-4 weeks, it's been like we could have made a ton of more profits. You know, like I've seen everyone pass FTMO within the last week, and it's just been insane. It's crazy. Are you on your second FTMO now?
I think we had. No. I'm waiting after the first payout, and I'm gonna grab what 2 more.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking about it, man. It's crazy. Like once you have the 300K account, man, that's gonna be crazy. Because the thing is, we're hitting like 200, we're hitting like 2,000, 250 per trade, and if you're taking UK 100, that's like 2 trades, and then you have 2 trades a week times 3. Dude, that's crazy. That's like 27,000 a week if you just keep hitting the UK 100 and the US 30 100 with just, you know, a minimum of 2 wins a week. That's a lot of profit. And then times 4, geez, you could be locking in 100K a month. Yeah. It's just, man, it just gets me excited, bro. Just thinking about it.
That's why we're back testing that second entry so hard. We found out that you would have made 25K in 2 days. In 2 days.
You'd be passing FTMOs left and right, bro.
Just nuts.
It's nuts, right? It's nuts because once you start to really understand how it moves, like how we've been doing, because we've been testing it so much that we actually understand how it moves now. It's not just, you know, just hopping into this first signal. We're actually analyzing it and seeing how it moves each day. And it's just, it's crazy. I feel like we're getting better and better every single day. So this is going to be, that's going to be pretty exciting. I think next year is going to be crazy for all of us, bro. All of us in K², we're going to make a ton of profit just trading indices. I'm more focused on indices now than I am even Forex because we already have a solid strategy for Forex. So I can just let those trades run. And then we could focus on, you know, improving these indices strategies because there's a lot of money to be made just trading US 30, UK 100. And I was telling David as well, you know, we can try to port the same strategy to like NASDAQ 100, you know, the DAX, stuff like that. And that'll be crazy because instead of having 2 trades a day, we can have, you know, up to 4 or 5 trades a day, and you just multiply the profits by 4 or 5. That's a huge profit right there for us.
Well, I mean, that's gonna be probably the end game. I would be, you know, just worried about like how you were talking about people over trading, and you know, lot sizes. That'll be a big factor.
Exactly. Yeah. So like, yeah, if we're gonna start taking more of those trades, we have to just, you know, decrease our lot size so that we can have, you know, proper risk when entering the trade. So yeah, definitely, I think we should just focus on US 30 and UK 100. But I think, you know, once we get more comfortable with it, we can start branching out to these other assets, and it'll be a gold mine, bro. Literally a gold mine for all of us, not just us, but like the whole K2 group. So this will be pretty exciting.
Well, I mean, I've had people ask me, like, what do I trust more, the UK or the US 30 trades? And I always have to go with the US 30. And the reason being is we can only go back 6-7 months on the UK 100. That's not telling us much. US
Yeah,
30
exactly.
back test for years. And
Yeah, exactly. I noticed that because I didn't realize that you can only go back that far on TradingView, because I guess the data for it doesn't go that far back. So that's probably, that'll be our starting point, and then we'll just be forward testing it from there. Because the data just doesn't match up if you use some other platform, because they don't use the currency.com data obviously that we use. So yeah, I definitely would go with the US 30 first, because I've back tested it so far back where I know the actual solid results long term. But I think they do follow with UK 100. So we'll see how that plays out. But definitely, I think just more testing and more provisions to better our win rate, because our win rate's pretty nice already as it is. I think the US 30 is up like, I think 82 or 83% win rate for the year, and we've only been trading that since May. So I think if we just keep going, it'll just increase as time goes on.
yeah, well, the wife is telling me I gotta get inside. So y'all have fun, and thanks.
Oh yeah, no, definitely, 100%.
I'll see y'all tomorrow.
All right, so I'll see you tomorrow morning, Mark. Talk to you later.
Bye.
All right, see ya. All right, guys. So we're done with that right now. I was just showing Mark how to mark up the zones on the UK 100, because he's handling the back test for UK 100 right now. We have a pretty solid win rate for this strategy. So for you guys that are taking the London entries, you guys have obviously seen everyone's profits. Just pulling up the profits from last week have just been like crazy remarkable, guys. I was just looking at this today, and everyone has literally been killing it right here. Like as over here, he's locked in like 4,000. He's only been with K2 for like a couple of weeks. He's been killing it. Aaron obviously has been killing US 30 over here. C6 been scalping US 30, and everyone here has just literally been destroying it. Like Ed over here too, he's been killing it. Chelsea over here locked in some serious profits last week. Damien over here locked in. See these UK 100 trades, lock in like a solid return for everyone. Like even right here, new levels. He locked in for that day 5,400, taking the US 30 and the UK 100 with us on Thursday and Friday. So if you guys combine the profits, they can add up like crazy, guys. So we're still working on some stuff. So hopefully you guys hang around with K2 for a while, because there's a lot of profits to come moving forward into 2021. But let me go ahead and check out the chat over here. I'm gonna see what's going on before we get started with the chart analysis for this week. So here goes the Jean, Chips Ahoy. David, what's up, David? How's it going? Matt, happy Sunday, everybody. What's up, Uzman? Hey, Nicole. Thanks, Nicole. Appreciate that. Oh, here comes Kai and Cody over there. What's up, Tune? Deswell, what's up? How's it going? Razul, hey. Andres, Aleph. Alf's asking, is the CHF JPY still valid, bro? So looking at CHF JPY, yeah, it's still technically valid. Whoever didn't close it last week, most of us closed it right here at TP2 for, I think it was, let me check the results real quick. So most of us are out of that trade, because we generally don't like to hold trades into the, the next week, because price can easily reverse. But looking at CHF JPY right here, we hit TP2 for a gain of 32 pips last week on the 17th. So if it's still technically active, but we never really recommend entering a trade late like that, because we're not sure if it's going to continue down in that direction, or if it's going to reverse on us. Because the thing with trades over the weekend, a lot can happen over the weekend. Like if you guys are familiar with what's happening in the UK, they've had they found a new strain of COVID. So they're going to full shutdown. They've closed all flights and canceled all bookings, from now until the end of the year. So that's why you see UK 100 going to shit right here. It's literally crashing down so heavy. And that's why it's going to be risky to take any trades right now, because that's going to affect the market one way or another, especially with CHF JPY. The thing with regard to direction, because they're both going to be Hey guys, let me see if I'm still on here. It looks like I got disconnected for a second. Hey guys, can you can anyone type in the chat to see if you guys can still see me? Because I'm not sure if I got disconnected or if I'm still on. Dijon, can you see me or hear me or anything here? I think I lost connection for a second there. Okay, perfect. Thanks, Sam. So it looks like we're back online. Unfortunately, there's been issues with the internet for the past, I think, 2 weeks now. But I think I'm back. Sam said all the way to Australia. Thanks, guys. I think I'm back online now. So just like I was saying earlier, perfect. Okay, so we're back online. Let me go ahead and start with this chart analysis. And I think we're pretty much good to go here for the most part. But going back to your question, Dijon, the stimulus will definitely affect the market because if the stimulus gets passed, I think it was a 900 billion stimulus that they were looking at. Let me go look at CNBC real quick. So looking at CNBC, yeah, right here, 900 billion COVID stimulus. You know what happens when they do this, right? When they pass the stimulus, they're gonna be printing money. So if they're printing money, it's gonna weaken the U.S. dollar. So when that happens, the U.S. dollar is gonna be weak, which it already is, and it's just going to continue pushing all of the USD pairs upwards. So once that stimulus bill passes, you'll probably see AU go up, you'll see EU go up, you'll see GU go up, and pretty much all of the other pairs. The thing with this right now is, obviously the market reopened. There's new COVID news that came out. That's why it's dropping, currently. The GU is especially dropping because of the new COVID strain and, the lockdowns going on in the UK. So the GU is probably not going to go up. But looking at the other USD pairs, these are probably going to, go up within the next couple of days when the new stimulus bill gets passed. But however, right now it's just it's a little rocky because all of the new COVID news that was released and the new updates that are happening, throughout the world. So when the stimulus does get passed, I'll see the U.S. dollar weakening a lot more than it already is. So that's what you can expect, Dijon, once that actually happens. But it hasn't happened yet. They're just, they agreed to this stimulus, deal, but it hasn't. I don't think it's passed just yet. Let me see. Stimulus update. They reached a deal on Sunday. Yeah, so the lawmakers will move to vote on the proposal tonight, actually. So we're probably not going to trade anything tonight, guys, because this is going to be pretty intense. If this happens, we could probably see some huge spikes in the other direction. It looks like right now there's like price just getting pushed down slightly, but I think eventually it's just going to shoot up once they agree on that deal. Because if they start printing US dollars, it's just going to weaken the US dollar currency. So, sit tight on that. We're probably not going to enter any trades until later tonight, until that has been voted on. So we'll see how that plays out. But until then, we're just going to go ahead and draw our chart analysis for, the week. So let me keep going down here real quick and see if there's any other questions before we get started. Yeah, definitely, Brandon. We're going to compound all the indices for sure. Udaman 1K said, good evening, new kid on the block. Definitely, Udaman. So welcome to K2, bro. There's a lot of new people here. So if you have any questions, just feel free to put them in the chat and I can answer anything that you guys have. Wave Bun, how's it going, bro? Let me see what else is here. Andres, I'm new. What's a good broker? So Andres, I only recommend US regulated brokers like Forex.com. So me personally, I can only recommend those because I don't want to give any recommendations for any scammy brokers, obviously. So for me, I would only recommend Forex.com for Forex trades. For indices, it's a little iffy. So depending on where you're located, if you're located in the US, there isn't really a good choice. I personally use Hugo's Way for my personal and FTMO for my bigger account. But if you're international, you can use something like IC Markets or I'm trying to think what else people use. I think IC Markets is the main one that people use internationally. So if you want to use that, that will work perfectly fine. However, if you're in the US, it's kind of hard for you to really determine what to use. But if you want to use what I'm using, I use Hugo's Way, but I don't recommend it because I know there's risks that are involved with using Hugo's Way. But I accept those risks because, obviously that's like our best option here, unless you have like a huge account. So let me keep going over here. And yeah, thanks, James. James said the good brokers are regulated 100%. Let's see anything else over here. All right, so I think that's about it, guys. So let's get started with this weekly analysis. So basically, guys, if you guys are new here, what I do on Sundays is I mark up the charts with these zones. These zones are from last week, and I'll just do this from scratch so that you guys can see what I'm doing here. But basically these zones are used to identify where rejection points are. So obviously you can see price basically goes from zone to zone. So if you go from here, you can see price starts from here, rejects from this point, bounces to this zone, rejects off this point, and it pretty much just bounces from zone to zone. So what I'm doing here is I'm going to be providing you guys with the nearest zones to current price. That way you'll know exactly where to trade and where not to trade. Like right here, we have this upper zone. Obviously price came down, rejected off this zone. What might happen here is price is probably going to continue up further, right? So I'll go ahead and draw these zones from scratch. I'll do the first ones from scratch. And then from there, I'm just going to update the other zones to see if there's anything new, just so you guys can see exactly where the rejection points are. But if you guys have any questions for any specific assets that you guys want me to analyze, just put them in the chat, and then I can take some specific time on those specific assets so that I can show you guys, my thought process and anything that I see happening, within the week. So let me keep moving over here real quick. James asking, what's happening with the UK 100, Shawn, moving on to K2? So we've been trading UK 100, James, for like, I think the past 2 months now. We've just merged them with the premium because there was just too many groups and a lot of people are getting confused with them. So that's why now all of the UK 100 trades are going to be shared in the K2 premium signals channel. You can see, for example, over here, let me show you guys. This is what the UK 100 signal looks like. It's usually posted by either Spencer, Mark, Jazz, or Alkin. So those are the 3 guys in K2 that are running the London group. And all the trades are being posted here in the premium signals channel. Here's an example of what it looks like. This is what the signal looks like. And then here are the profits here, where it ends up hitting full TP, in addition to my Forex calls and my US 30 calls as well. You can see we hit like 4 back-to-back profits here. UK 100 hit, full profit for 500 pips. Our AJ hit TP for 30 pips, and our US 30 hit full TP for 1500 pips as well. So, putting those all together, that's a ton of profits, guys. So if you guys look at our profits for the week, not just for the week, but for everyone in total, let me see if I can go to the results here. These are all of our results for the year so far. So looking at our Forex results right here, we've had about 455 wins and 146 losses for a gain of 18,000 net profit pips. So right here, obviously, if you took every trade, you'd probably be up nearly 200,000. If you're taking a standard lot, a mini lot, it'd be a little less, 18,000, micro lot, 1,800. And then for our indices over here, we've included our UK 100s now. So we've had a total of 87 wins and 20 losses. I think that's about like maybe 82, 84% win rate for, a gain of a net 97,000 pips. So if you took a standard lot, which is not what everyone's trading, obviously, this is just a generalization for people who are trading that big of a lot size, you'd make that much profit. If you're taking a mini lot, you'd still be up pretty high, about 100,000. So yeah, we're going to be merging all of our US 30, UK 100, and all of my Forex calls into one channel now, right here. So let me see what else we got over here. Jack Payne's asking, are all the UK 100 trades now in the normal signals channel? Yeah. So Jack, they're all going to be posted in the premium signals channel now. They're not going to be posted in the free channel anymore because we just have too many people trying to scam. Like, the problem with us posting in the free channel, like we don't mind sharing the trades with you guys. But the thing is, there's a lot of people that try to scam. They join the group, they copy the trades, they post it in their own group, and they act like it's their trade. It's not their trade, it's the K2 trade. So that's why we had to move it to the premium, because we don't want people scamming people, trying to copy our trades and act like they're the ones that are coming up with these entries when it's really not. So that's why it's moved to the premium. If you guys are in the premium, you'll have access to all of the indices trades and the Forex trades together. So let me keep going over here and see if there's anything else over here. Razul said, Shawn, is there a way to enter our trades with a smaller stop loss? No, Razul, there's a reason why we enter these trades. The stop losses are placed in that specific area for a specific reason. So you can minimize them if you want, but your results aren't going to be the same. You're probably going to get stopped out. Like, for example, here, let me go to one of our trades from last week. Let's see. Let me check over here real quick and see how it looks over here. I'm just going to pull up a trade that we possibly had. So like right here, for example, for a CHF JPY trade, if your stop loss was too tight, like obviously we put it up here, right? We got nowhere near the stop loss. If your stop loss was too tight, somewhere right here, how, you see a lot of people trade, you would have gone stopped out, and then we would have been in profit while you have gotten kicked out of the trade. So that's why we don't, I mean, you can minimize it if you want, Razul, but you're not going to have the same results as us. You're probably not going to have a high win rate. You're probably going to have a lot of losses compared to wins. But obviously the stop losses are placed there for a specific reason. So you can manage your trade however you like, but our stop losses are put there for a reason. So, you know, it's up to you whether you want to follow how we trade or not. If you think you can do better by moving your stop loss tighter, then you can do it. But you're probably not going to have the same results as us. So I recommend just following, you know, how it's supposed to be done. Unless you know what you're doing. If you know what you're doing, then you can do what you like. But if not, then I recommend you just stick to the game plan. So let me keep moving down over here. Shawn said, my job at school is giving me a stipend, so I'm investing it all into the market in my business. Nice, nice. Shawn also wants me to take a look at your CAD and Euro NZD. So I'll add those to the list over here. I'm going to make a list here for all of the pairs you guys want me to analyze, and then I'll take a look at those. So back to Shawn over here, Euro CAD and Euro NZD. Jack's asking, what's the suggested trade management for UK 100? Stop loss to break even after TP1. You'd have to reach out to Mark, Jack, or, you know, reach out on the premium, because the thing is, I don't trade the UK 100. I'm located in the US, so that's like opposite my time. So I just trade the US 130. I mean the US 30 trades, and I know that they do things a little differently. So they're basically it's a spinoff of my US 30 trade strategy, but they change it up a little bit with regard to managing risks. So I'm not sure if you're in the premium, Jack, but if you are, just message in the premium and then they can help you there with how they manage the trade. Generally, we use a simple exit strategy. So once TP hits TP1, so for example, here, if we had TP1 over here and TP2 somewhere over here, basically what we would do is once price reaches TP2 or TP1, we move our stop loss to TP1 right here. Once price reaches TP2, we move our stop loss to TP2 right here. That way, if price ends up reversing like it did right here, we get stopped out at TP2. We never move it to break even, but you can use that if you'd like. If you go on the website or if you go on our YouTube, we have different explanations for the different exit strategies that we use, but we do recommend using the simple exit strategy. So let me just show you, for example, over here, you know, what I mean by that, because we have multiple exit strategies here. There's obviously a conservative one, and there's, you know, one that we let run further. So let me just pull up the course over here real quick. And I'll just carry this over here. So if you have access to the course, you can go over here to our exit strategies. Yeah, so the K2 exit strategy is right here. We have the simple one that's recommended. This recommends that you move your stop loss to TP1 or TP2 once price reaches that price. And if you want to use the conservative one or the very conservative one, that's where you'd move it to break even. But we generally don't really recommend this because your odds are you're probably going to lose out on some profits. We usually just recommend using the simple one instead. But it's really up to you how you want to manage it. For us personally, we always recommend using the simple one because it's just a lot easier and you lock in more profits that way. You don't have to worry about your trades. So if you want to look at that, just sign on to the website. You know, go to k2trades.com. If you don't have access to it, you can click here for your free access to just have all of these videos here. However, obviously, if you want access to the premium groups and you want access to the K2 indicators, you'll have to sign up to either the strategies or the signals. So this will give you access to it, and you guys can see which exit strategies we use. Okay, so let me keep going down the questions over here real quick. Braden's asking, yo, Shawn, I know it varies, but are you taking a standard lot on your FTMO account, or what would you use for 100K funded account? So Braden, for every trade on my FTMO, if you've seen my account here, I always take 15 lots. Yeah, I never really change it. The only time I change it is if I'm scalping. So if you see my profits over here, so right here, obviously you can see they're all 15 lots, right? The only time they're 10 lots is if I'm scalping or if I'm entering a late trade. So obviously all of them are 15 lots here. That's what I use on the 100K. And that's what I figured out to, you know, yield the best profits. Like right here, these are my profits for December. Currently on my funded account, I've made like about 13,000 this month. My withdrawal here is for 300. So this is going to show you that this is a real funded account because you can't withdraw on a challenge. You can't withdraw on a verification account. This is a legit funded account, and I have two of these. So yeah, so Braden, I personally just recommend using the 15 lot. It makes it a whole lot easier and you're able to maximize your profits without reaching your daily loss limit. So that's my recommendation. If you want to use something lesser, you can, but I personally use 15 lots for all of my US 30 trades. Okay, so James said, cool, and the strategy will be published on for the UK 100 in the members area. James, so that video hasn't been published yet because, like I mentioned, the UK 100 strategy is still brand new. We've only been using it for about a month or so. So there's a lot of back testing still going on with that. The difference with US 30 strategies that I've been using it for years now. So I've back tested it 5 to 10 years back, and I know that, you know, the true data that pulls from that back test. So I know that the US 30 works perfectly fine. The UK 100 is still brand new. So we haven't created the exact strategy video for it. That's why I just message in the premium group and then get in touch with the London group because they'll have the details for you. I personally don't trade it, so I don't have the answers for you, but there's a lot of people in the group that do trade it and they can answer your specific questions. So just get in touch with them because they can answer your questions better. You know, obviously I don't want to make up my analysis and give you the, you know, numbers that I haven't really tested myself. So I recommend you just get in the premium group and get in touch with the London guys. All right, Jay's asking, and what if I just go for full profit? I back tested the full profit way and that was still profitable as well, but I have not back tested the other ways to do TP1 or break even. What do you think is better? So Jay, it really depends on you. You know, not everyone has the trade psychology to move your stop loss in profit. Some people just want to let it run. Either way, you're going to hit being profit, you know, either direction. So if you're too lazy to move it up, like a lot of people are, I'm not saying you're lazy, but you know, a lot of people don't want to move their stop loss. It's just a lot of work if you have to follow your trade and move the stop loss. So if you know yourself and you know that you're not going to move your stop loss, then just go for full profit. You're going to be in profit regardless. But if you can move your stop loss in profit, you know, obviously you're still going to hit more profit that way because you're going to have less losses. If you keep moving it to stop loss to TP1, that's going to lock in 750 pips each trade, right? So if you look at our results here, we almost never hit, you know, we almost always hit TP1, but most of the time we always, actually, let me go to the results over here. Let me just pull it up over here real quick because I do have the data for it. Let me see. Let me just pull up the my own back test for it and the results that I've put together for US 30. But either way, whichever one you use, it's going to be good regardless. So it just depends on what you want to apply. So looking over here, I have all of the November results here for let's see, US 30. It looks like for US 30 we had one loss, and majority of the time they hit full TP, right? So it's like full TP there, full TP there, TP1 there, full TP there. Majority of the time they hit full TP. So if you hit full TP, you'll still be in profit. If you hit TP1, you'd only have a few losses. So like right here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. You'd have 4 losses and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 wins if you were taking TP1. So you would have had way more profit if you just took TP1. But if you let it run to full TP, you'd still have a decent amount of profit as well. Because if I count this right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, you'd still be in profit either way for November. Even looking at October over here, you can see all the profits here. If they're 1,500, that's a full TP. If it's 750, that's TP1. Either way here, if you're doing the same thing, you'd still be in profit regardless, whichever one you apply. So obviously, if you're going to be moving your stop loss to TP1, you'll be able to lock in more profits because you'll have less losses. But if you're running it to full TP, you'll still have about the same results. It's not going to be a huge difference. It's not going to be a huge breakthrough where you're like, oh, I should do this or I should do that. You do either one and stay consistent with either one, and you'll be perfectly fine. But if you decide to do one, you got to stick with that. If you're going to move your stop loss, do that for every single trade. If you're going to let it run to full TP, do that for every single trade. Because the thing is, if you start doing one or the other, it's going to offset your profits, right? Because if you're taking TP1 for one day, but then that could have hit full TP, you would have lost out on half the profit. And then same situation here, if you were to run to full TP and not cut out at TP1, then you would have lost out on half the profit. So I'm not sure if that makes any sense to you, but you definitely would have to just choose one and then stick to it. Because either way, you'll make profit at the end of the week, end of the month, end of the year. It's just a matter of as to, you know, how can you do it? Because not everyone is willing to follow the trade. Jason, thanks. I might always just have to test both ways to see what I like more. Yeah, more switch the ways as the first month this, another month that. Definitely, Jay. Yeah, so, you know, just for 1 month, just do move your stop loss and then see what the profits look like. If you like the profits, then continue doing that. If you just let them run to full TP, then you can do that as well. And then you can figure out what works for you. Because the thing is, you can't go like one day you're going to move stop loss, and then the other day you're just going to let it run to full TP, because it's just gonna imbalance. But yeah, hopefully that helps. And man, let's make some profits, because I'm excited for this next year. Just from this back test we've been doing, the results have just been insane, guys. So we'll see how that goes. But just for reference, I'm personally going to start letting them run to full TP, just to let you guys know ahead of time. That's probably going to be my strategy moving forward, because I've done a farther back test, and it seems to like work either way. So if I do that, it gives me more time to like not focus on my trades, and then just let them run. And you guys can do the same thing as well. So we'll go ahead and move forward with the chart analysis. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm going to go and mark up the charts right now. So let's start with odd CAD over here. I'm going to go ahead and delete everything off the chart so you guys can see how I do this from scratch. Zoom out from there, delete everything, and we've got a naked chart right there. So I'm going to turn on the K2SR indicator, and you guys can see we have the zones right here. So I'm going to go ahead and draw my zones on the chart for you guys. So I'm going to pull out my rectangle tool. I'm going to go and draw my zone down here, my zone right here, zone right here. I'm just going to connect all these zones, because when these zones overlap like that and they're super close, it's better to draw a bigger zone. And price is way up here, so we're not expecting it to come down here, anytime soon. So that's good right there. Right there. And then we got this one right over here as well. So when this happens right here and there's no upper zone, we go in the higher time frame, like the 8 hour. Nothing there. We go in the daily. Nothing really there. We go on the weekly. And then there we got our zone. So we'll draw the zone right there. And then draw this upper zone over here as well. So once we've got all that marked up, I'm going to go ahead and hide the indicator. And you guys can see here that we have these perfectly lined up zones. So with this right here, we'll probably identify this as, a little pullback. We'll check out the momentum indicator to determine the direction of momentum. Looks like it's a slight pullback, but once it swings back up here and closes above this structure, then we could probably anticipate this to shoot up even further. So just pulling this up right here, we can probably see this shoot up right there. So we'll wait for this to break the structure, and then we'll probably take a buy once it closes above here. So price is currently within this big zone right here. I'm going to give you this upper zone so you guys know exactly where to look out for price to break and close, which would be 0.97742. And this lower zone down here is going to be 0.97147. So those are the two zones for odd CAD right now. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. And guys, if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the chat. But like I mentioned, this is just going to be a quick session where I'm going to be giving you guys these zones. Just a reminder, I go live every single day. So tomorrow I'm going to be live again tomorrow morning, and I can answer your questions more specifically, with regard to each asset. Because today there's just going to be weird movement in the market because the market's barely opening. There's going to be very low volatility. Plus with the new COVID news, it's not really going to move as smooth at all. So I'm probably not even going to trade myself today, but I'm just going to give you guys these zones so you guys know exactly what to look out for as we enter the trading week. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom through these real quick. Go on to the next one, which is odd CHF. And then since I've already given you guys, the full breakdown of how I draw these zones, instead of drawing all the zones all over again, I'm just going to go ahead and see if there's any difference from last week's zones and just update the zones. Because generally, if price doesn't move that much, the zones are probably just haven't been updated as well. So in order to save us some time, because I know you guys just want these zones to take your own trades, I'm just going to go ahead and update these zones. So you can see these zones right here have disappeared because price is way up here now from last week. I'm going to delete these. And just looking at these upper zones right here, you can see that these zones line up perfectly with last week's zone. So instead of drawing brand new zones, I'm just going to update these zones so that we have exactly everything marked up, and there's not really much work to be done right now. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw this zone off this part. And then looks like there's a new zone that was created right here. I'm just going to go ahead and move this up further. In order to get that upper zone, I'm going to go in the higher time frame right here, the 8 hour, nothing up there, the daily, and it looks like there's a 1 right here. got this zone, and then I'm going to put a horizontal line right there. Go back on the 4 hour, hide the indicator, and there you go. So price is currently within this zone down here and this zone up here. So I'm just going to give you guys these two zones and ignore this middle one because price is still trying to break through this specific price point. So it's going to be irrelevant if price breaks within here. The more important part is going to be if it breaks above this zone and closes, or if it breaks below here and closes down here. Because in this situation, if price breaks above here, it's probably going to continue up further. If price breaks below here, it's probably going to continue down further. So this lower zone right here is going to be 0.66959, and this upper zone right here is going to be 0.67438. So that's it for odd CHF. Let's move on to the next one over here, odd JPY. This trade's technically still active from last week. We took this trade on December 10th. I personally got out of this trade already at TP2 for 30 pips. But some of you guys might still be in the trade. So it's fine if you guys are still in the trade, but I'm going to go ahead and draw the new zones to determine if there's anything new that's been updated since last week. So let me go ahead and hide these right here. So this lower zone's still there. These zones are still there as well. This zone is there. This zone has disappeared, so I'm going to delete it. These upper zones are still there. This middle zone's there. This other zone up here is technically, it's adjusted a little bit, so I'm going to delete that. I'm going to redraw my zone right here. And then these upper zones over here as well. So this has actually changed a bit. So I'm going to go ahead and update that right there. And then I'm going to go on the higher time frame to find the higher zone. So we actually have a zone right here from the daily on the weekly. And it looks like we do have a zone up there already. So go back on the 4 hour, hide the indicator. This price is technically testing this zone right here, which was on the daily. So it's a strong zone. This lower zone is going to be 78.467. And this upper zone over here is going to be 80.282. So those are the two zones for odd JPY. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next one. Odd NZD right here. It looks like our odd NZD is still technically active. It's about to hit full TP for a gain of 60 pips right here. It'll probably push out once we enter London session today. So I'm going to go ahead and check the zone, see if they've updated it all. Looks like they're pretty much the same for the most part. This one's extended down a little bit, so I'm going to push that down a little bit. Everything else looks pretty decently fine. I'm going to go ahead and update this one. That lower one's still down there, so that's good. This upper one's right there as well. And I'm probably going to delete this one because there's nothing up there right now currently. So price is currently within these two zones right here. This upper zone over here is going to be 1.07027, and this lower zone down here is going to be 1.06312. So those are the two zones closest to price currently. And that's it for odd NZD right there. Let's move on to the next one, odd USD. I'm going to go ahead and see if the zones have updated since last week. I'm going to go ahead and hide this. All right, so this zone has changed right here. I'm going to delete this and redraw that zone right here. See if anything else has changed. That's still there. Those middle zones are still there as well. So everything down here is perfectly fine. Looks like this zone has disappeared. Delete that. Otherwise, yeah, everything else looks pretty much fine for odd USD. So price is currently within these two zones right here. I'm going to go ahead and hide the indicator. And this upper zone over here is going to be 0.770. Sorry, it's 0.77069, and this lower zone down here is going to be 0.75225. So those are the two zones closest to current price. And you know, for this situation, we have a bullish bias. Like I mentioned, the US dollar is probably going to be weak once the stimulus gets passed. So I would anticipate this to shoot up to test this zone right here. And then once it reaches this point, it'll either reject off it or it'll break right through it and continue further. So that's where what I see happening right here. I definitely think it's going to push up. So I'd have a bullish bias for this specific trade. I might even enter a speculative trade and just take this right up from this point up to this structure over here for, let's see, a gain of, wow, 100 pips. That's that's a big move right there. So I might even take that trade. I'll see how it plays out. And I might just take this trade on my own just to cash that move up, because I still think it's going to push up further. You know, I might even take the trade right now. Let's see if I put my stop loss somewhere around. Yeah, so I'm just going to take the speculative trade, guys. There's no entry here, but I personally think it's going to continue up. So I'm just going to take a trade right here. I'm going to take a standard lot, and then I'm going to ride this thing up right here. I don't recommend you guys do any of this. The only reason I'm doing this is because I actually know what I'm doing, guys. So don't, don't try to enter something that you guys aren't comfortable with. I know generally I take a 101 risk, but for me here, I'm just taking a speculative trade, guys. I'm not taking any strategy here. I'm just using my own knowledge and anticipating this to shoot up because of, all the news and stuff. I'm anticipating this to shoot up right here. So right here, I'm taking with a 50 pip stop loss to take profit of 1,000. So I'm gonna let this run and we'll see how this plays out tomorrow, guys. I will keep you guys updated, but this will be a really nice profit here for $1,000. So you guys see that I took this on my live account. This is a real forex.com account. It's not demo. It's completely live and real. So we'll see how this plays out, but you guys can see how confident I feel about this trade right here, because with the stimulus bill getting passed tonight, because they're voting on this tonight, guys. If this gets passed, then you can see the US dollar get weaker and weaker as it goes. So we'll see how this plays out. Hopefully I'll wake up tomorrow with $1,000 in my account, and then I'll show you guys tomorrow morning, how this ends up playing out, guys. So we'll see how that plays out. Otherwise we will continue on. So let's move on to CAD CHF over here. Nice. Braden said I took a buy odd USD at open today. Nice. Yeah. So I do think it's going to push up, Braden. So it's going to be good for both of us. We'll see how that plays out, and we'll continue to follow it as the night continues. We're over here at CAD CHF. I'm going to go ahead and see if the zones have updated since last week. Looks like this zone is not there anymore. I'm going to delete that. Looks like this zone looks perfectly fine. The other ones have not changed at all either. So everything looks good right here for CAD CHF. Not too much movement from last week. So price is still currently where it was previously. So price is currently within these two structures right here, which this upper zone is going to be 0.69281. And this lower zone down here is going to be 0.69023. So once price breaks the structure down here and closes below it, then we can anticipate it to drop even further. So that's it for CAD CHF right there. Hopefully you guys got that zone. Move on to the next one, CAD JPY. Let's see if these zones have changed since last week. Looks like everything is perfectly fine. Looks like the Canadian pairs didn't really move much last week, so that's why the zones are pretty much the same. This zone disappeared, so I'm gonna delete that. Otherwise, everything else looks perfectly the same. So I'm gonna go ahead and hide this indicator. Looking at CAD JPY right here, price is currently moving down. It's within these two structures. This upper structure is going to be 80.982, and this lower structure right here is going to be 80.552. So if price breaks this structure down here, so once it reaches this structure, it can either reject off and come back up, or it can probably break below. But like I mentioned before, the new COVID news came out. So if the COVID just keeps getting worse and worse, then the JPY is going to gain in strength, because the JPY is a safe haven currency. So with that said, I anticipate this to drop even further. So those are your parameters for CAD JPY. Just keep in mind, if it breaks the structure or even breaks the structure down here, we can probably see it continue farther down. So that's it for CAD JPY right here. Let's move on to the next pair, CHF JPY. Looking at this right here, like I mentioned, the JPY and the Swiss franc are both safe haven currencies. So this is a bit of it's an iffy asset to trade. I personally wouldn't trade it, but if you guys still have this active from last week, it's still perfectly fine. So let me turn on the K2SR indicator. Looks like this zone right here actually disappeared. So we can probably connect these two zones right here into one big zone. And these lower zones right here look perfectly fine. The only difference here is that this upper one has changed. So I'm going to go ahead and draw this zone right there. And I'm going to draw this lower zone right here as well. So if price breaks this structure right here, so you can see price is attempting to break this structure. If it breaks and closes below it, then we can anticipate it to drop even further to test this next structure down here. And by the time that happens, it's going to hit our full TP right here for a gain of 65 pips. So this looks good if you guys are still holding my call from last week. I personally got out of the trade at TP2 over here for about, I think, 33 pips or something like that. Because I don't hold trades over the weekend. So I'm out of this trade, but if you guys are still in it, it looks perfectly fine and it can continue down further. So to give you these parameters right here, this lower parameter is going to be 116.655, and this upper structure right here is going to be 117.446. So if you guys are still in the sell, looks perfectly fine. It's probably going to drop even further as the time continues. So let's move on to the next one. Next one is EA. Let me see what Dejan was looking for. So Dejan wants me to take a look at Euro CAD and Euro NZD. So once we get to that, I'm going to take some time on those specific assets and I'm going to analyze those more in depth. So if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'm just going to zoom through all these pairs for the chart analysis just to prepare you guys for the week. And then as a reminder, I'm going to be going live again tomorrow for our live trading room. So if I don't answer your guys' questions today, sorry guys, my dog keeps barking. I don't know what he's doing out there. He's probably ready for his walk. So I'm gonna try to zoom through this even quicker, guys, because I think my dog's ready for his walk. But I'm gonna go ahead and check if these zones have updated. Let me see. So looking at EA right here, looks like we got this lower structure. It looks like this structure right here pushed down further. So I'm just gonna make that a little wider. But everything looks fine. So just looking at these pairs over here, everything pretty much lines up perfectly fine with current price. Looks like these upper zones are good. This lower zone is good as well. So we're missing one down here. So we don't have these lower zones over here. So I'm just gonna delete those. And then looking at EA over here, I'm gonna hide the indicator. And then you can see that price is currently within these two zones right here, right? So this upper zone right here is going to be 1.61226, and this lower zone down here is going to be 1.60412. So if this ends up breaking below the structure, we can anticipate it to drop even further. However, keep in mind, we've got some high impact Euro news coming up tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. So once that happens, that can highly affect the market. So just keep that in mind. But like I mentioned, these are the two structures. If price breaks below here, we can anticipate it to drop further. However, if price breaks above here, we can anticipate it to push up even higher. So that's it for EA right now. And move on to the next pair. Business paying said CHF JPY going back up. Let me look at CHF JPY real quick. It doesn't look like it at all, business paying. I'm not sure what you see here, but this is a strong bearish candle. If price breaks this structure, it's going to continue down further. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with, the COVID analysis, but the Swiss franc and JPY are both safe haven currencies. So they're going to move sideways. They're not necessarily going to move up, but I think they're going to move down because looking at the other JPY pairs, they're all bearish. So if you do a simple correlation of the JPY pairs here, if they're all bearish, CHF JPY is probably going to be bearish as well, right? So I'm not sure where you saw that bullish move, but looking at all the JPY pairs here, they're all bearish. See, even USD JPY as well. So unless you have analysis where you want me to look at business paying, I can see I can probably try to analyze what you see. But me personally, it looks like the JPY is pretty bearish to me. I'm not sure where you saw that bullish move, but everything else is coming down. So if they're coming down, odds are this is going to come down too. So, there's no right or wrong analysis here. You probably see something that I don't see, but if you could share a chart or, be more detailed with your analysis, then I can probably see what you're talking about. But me personally, just looking at all these right here, everything shows a bearish move to me. I don't see any bullish move coming for CJ right here. So just, if you want to compare analysis, just post your chart and then we can look at it. But I can't go off anything if you're just saying it's going up and there's no indication that it's going up here. So yeah, move on to the next pair over here. Last one I went over was EA over here. I'm gonna go over to UCAD, EUCAD I mean, sorry. So looking at EuroCAD over here, I'm gonna see if the zones have updated since last week. It looks like this one has updated a bit. Delete that. I'm gonna update that zone right here. Otherwise, everything else looks pretty much the same. Aside from this, I'm gonna delete this zone right here. Redraw that zone. Yeah, everything else looks pretty much the same here. So looking at EuroCAD, price is currently within these two zones. This lower zone right here is going to be 1.55480. This upper zone right here is going to be 1.56941. Again, that's 1.56491. So that's it for that right there. Let's move on to the next one over here for Euro CHF. All right, sorry, I think Shawn wanted me to take a better look at EuroCAD. So let me go ahead and I'll redo this from scratch, guys. So looking at EuroCAD over here, I'm gonna go ahead and zoom out from there, delete all these. And I'm just gonna show you guys how I would analyze this from scratch, just for Dijon, so like you guys can see exactly how I would have analyzed this. So looking at EuroCAD right here, I'll zoom out, turn on the K²SR indicator, and then I will draw my zones, according to the K²SR zones right here. Draw that right there. Man, this thing's messy. There's so many zones right here. I'm just gonna draw one big zone because it's just way too messy. And price is way above the structure, so it doesn't really matter anyways. So looking at EuroCAD right here, we got all those zones lined up right there. I'm gonna go ahead and hide the K²SR indicator. And I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator. All right, cool. So this entry actually started right over here. So you can see price broke this structure right here using the K²SR strategy. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put the strategy right here. This is the K²SR zone trading strategy on the 4-hour time frame. For one, you're gonna identify a break and close past K²SR level. 2, you're gonna identify direction of momentum using the K2 TS indicator. And lastly, you're going to enter on the open of the following candle. So using the strategy right here, we actually took this trade and we hit full TP already, which would have been, sorry guys, this is the GIF we always post when you win. This thing always cracks me up when the kid's like dancing, and then he goes over to to the wall right here, and this cracks us all up. But looking at EuroCAD over here, I actually called that trade last week, and then we hit full TP. So I called this on Thursday. It was a gain of 60 pips. We hit TP1, and then we ended up hitting full TP right here for another one, obviously. So if you guys took that trade, we hit full TP already on that one. But if you guys wanted to take the full move actually would have been from here all the way up to this next structure over here, right? So technically this trade would have still been active if you took the full move right here. And I anticipate it to eventually continue up even further to hit this structure, which would have hit full TP here for a gain of 140 pips before either, breaking above it and continuing further, or rejecting off it and swinging back down. So that's pretty much what I see right here for EuroCAD, Dijon. Personally, I think it's going to continue up even further. But we'll see how that ends up playing out within the next, couple hours or so. Probably until like the let-in session opens. We'll see what happens from there. But I still think it's going to continue up further to finish this complete move because we do have a bullish bias. Obviously, if price breaks structure like it did right here, it's the same pattern, guys. You guys can see right here that it breaks the structure. It pulls back a little bit, kind of what's happening right here, but it ends up pushing all the way to this structure. Like I mentioned, to this structure before either, breaking above it or rejecting back down. It's literally just repeating what it did right here. So just looking at that right here gives you more confirmation that it's probably going to continue up further to test this upper structure before either breaking above it or swinging right back down. And this move right here was huge. So from right here was like 145 pip move, same situation again right here. Another 145 pip move again. So I would have a bullish bias on this specific trade. But obviously we'll see how this plays out within the next couple hours once we get into London session later today. Still waiting for business paying. If you have analysis for CJ, bro, I just want to see what you're looking at. Because maybe you saw something that I didn't see, or if you're just calling out a random, you're just saying that it's going to go up when you don't have no analysis. That might be the situation too. But if you have analysis, feel free to share it, because I would want to see what you're looking at. But if you're just calling a buy because you think it's going to go up, then that's fine. But if you have some actual, you actually have a thought process behind your comment, then I definitely want to take a look at it to see if I'm missing something. All right, so let's move on to the next one, Euro CHF. So you can go ahead and draw these zones, see if the zones have changed from last week. Let me go ahead and hide this right here. Looks like everything pretty much lines up the same for the most part. This actually has disappeared. So we're going to delete that. And then we can probably just pull this down a little further because it's just extended down a little bit. Delete this one down here. And all the zones here are pretty much the same. So looking at current price, it looks like it's within these two zones right here. So I'm going to give you this upper structure, which is 1.08236. And this lower structure right here is going to be 1.08071. But obviously if price breaks the structure down here, then we can anticipate it to drop even further from this point. Yeah, looking at this here, it looks like it's probably going to drop because, like I mentioned, we had new COVID news. There was a new COVID strain that was located in the UK. Obviously, it's going to affect the euro as well, just as it does for the pound. So if that happens, this is probably going to continue dropping because the Swiss franc is a safe haven currency. So with COVID, with the continued bad news from COVID, it's probably just going to continue down even further from that point. So this looks good from there. I think it's going to continue down further. Okay, cool. So business paying said there's a big support. CHF JPY said that it should start to go back up soon, creating a double bottom. So let's go ahead and take a look at that real quick. So I'm going to go back to CHF JPY real quick. Let's see. So the next, it's currently at the support right here, like you mentioned, right? I don't know if I would consider this a double bottom because price already broke the structure. If price didn't break the structure right here, you see this test right here. If this tested and this tested, but it didn't break below here, then it would be a double bottom. However, looking at price right now, this wouldn't be a double bottom because price already broke that structure. You get what I'm saying? So something like this right here, where price created a bottom right here, and then it created a double bottom right here. That's why it shot up right here, right? Because that's it. That's a double bottom. This wouldn't be a double bottom right here, because it established a bottom here, but it already broke right here. So the thing is, this is creating a new support, but it's not, establishing double bottom because it already broke below it. If this was above here and didn't break below the structure, then I would consider that a double bottom, unless you're looking at this right here. So I could probably see you looking at this right here. Maybe this is the double bottom that you're identifying. If that's what you see, then possibly, but it looks like a messy double bottom for me. So yeah, we'll see how that plays out. The difference with this though is that we do have the technicals here that you're identifying these double bottoms, but you have to incorporate news because COVID has created a different market for us. If we were in a normal market situation where price respects these these technicals where this double bottom you identified, then we can probably anticipate it to reject off it. However, with the COVID news going on. So let me just see if I can pull up the news real quick. Let me see. I'm just going to Google UK COVID. So looking at the COVID news right here, this is going to affect the market heavily. This isn't going to respect those technicals that you just identified here because there's a mutant coronavirus in the UK that set off like crazy alarms, right? So the thing is, it's affected the market super heavily because this new COVID variant, basically they locked down all the flights. They've locked down the whole country, and that's going to cause this it could easily break right through it, right? It's not going to respect these structures because looking at UK 100 right here, look how far it's dropped. If this continues to drop further, it's going to affect, all of the pairs as well. So I wouldn't necessarily base it off these technicals because these are going to have a greater effect over market versus those, technicals, because if things go to shit, it's going to break right through it, and it's not going to stop just because there's a double bottom support right there. So just keep that in mind, but your analysis is proper. So if you identify this as the bottom right here, then I can see that double bottom, but I personally wouldn't look at it from that perspective. But we'll see how it plays out. Business Bank. That was still a good analysis, so that you brought that up. Thanks for bringing that up, because I didn't even notice that from these zones here, because we don't have a lower zone that was drawn right here. The thing with these zones is that the K2SR zones aren't drawn unless price has tested the same exact price point. So you can see right here, it actually broke below this this low right here. So it's actually, it would actually have passed that double bottom right there. So if I draw this right here, this is a low from that bottom. Price actually broke below it already. So it wouldn't be a clear double bottom right there, because it actually broke right below it. But I mean, we'll see how it plays out. If it goes up, then that's great too, because I'm already out of the trade. So I don't even care if it goes up or if it goes down, because I'm personally out of the trade. I don't have a position active for CHF-JPY. But if it doesn't, then we'll see how that plays out, because then that'll hit our full TP. And then whoever still has its trade active will make profit off that as well. But we'll see how that plays out. Let's move on to the next pair that I was analyzing. So the last pair I analyzed was Euro CHF. I'm going to move on to EG. And then we will see how this plays out right here. So let me go ahead and see if the zones are the same from last week, or if they have updated. Looks like everything is pretty much the same for EG over here. So we don't have to draw any new zones. Price is currently within these two structures. Looks like it's rejecting off this upper structure, which is going to be 0.91154. And this lower structure down here is going to be 0.90. Sorry, again, that's 0.90841. So price breaks this structure above here, then we can probably anticipate this to continue up even further. And this is going to be directly correlated with the COVID news, like I just mentioned. Obviously the UK, they're going through some bad times right now with the new COVID variant. So with all of their flights being halted, and with the complete country going to full lockdown, this is going to weaken the GBP. So if the GBP gets weak, it's going to continue up even further and just break through here. However, if both countries are affected with that new news, it's probably just going to go sideways for the whole week until it breaks above or breaks below. So we'll just have to see how the COVID news, plays out during the week, because we're not really sure how it's going to affect these markets directly. So that's it for EG right there. Let me move on to the next one, which is EJ. This goes back to my analysis earlier, guys. So with EJ right here, if the news is going to continue affecting the JPY, it will probably continue dropping further. However, we don't know what's going to happen, because anything can happen from now until next week. But let's go ahead and see if the zones are still proper here from last week. Let me go ahead and hide this. So it looks like these lower zones are completely fine. So that's good. That's good right there as well. This has disappeared, so we'll delete that. The rest of these zones look perfectly fine. That zone's still there. The only difference is this zone has increased quite a bit. So I'm gonna move this up here for current price. And then we will hide this and look at it from here. Okay, so looking at EJ right here, price is currently within these two structures. This upper structure is going to be 126.487, and this lower structure right here is going to be 125.927. So basically, if price breaks this structure below here and closes below here, then we can anticipate it to drop even further to test this structure over here. However, if price ends up correcting back upwards and closes above here, then we can anticipate it to swing up from this point. So one of two things can happen. We'll just wait for price to break above here or break below here, and then that will give us confirmation, with regard to what direction to be trading EJ and just the JPY in general. If this continues to drop further, then we can anticipate it to drop further with the rest of the JPY pairs. However, if it swings up, we can anticipate it to swing up even further as well. So that's it for EJ. Let's move on to the next one. All right, looking at EN right here. price is currently within these two structures. And this is one that Dijon wanted me to look at more in depth. So I'm going to go ahead and analyze this from scratch, delete everything off the chart. There is our naked chart. I'm going to zoom out from this point, turn on the K²SR indicator, and draw my zones. So I'm going to go ahead and start from up here. We got this upper zone right here, this zone right here. We got this zone right here. We got these three zones right here. I'm just going to connect those all together. We got these right here as well. This one down here. And this one right there. This one right there. Connect these two. So these kind of overlap right here. We can probably create a big zone, but I'm just going to create these smaller zones just for now so that we can get through this analysis pretty smoothly. Draw this down right there. And this right here as well. All right, cool. So we got all the zones drawn up right there. I'm gonna go ahead and hide the indicator. As you can see, price is currently within these two zones right now. So I'm gonna turn on the momentum indicator to identify the direction of momentum right here. We have a bullish momentum from last week, but it looks like it can reject off this point and possibly give us a sell signal. So currently we have a bullish bias. So we would anticipate this to possibly push up higher. So if it continues with the move that started last week and it pushes up to here, then it'll probably continue up even further. However, like I mentioned, there's a lot of new COVID news this morning or this weekend, I guess. So this might come the opposite direction. If that, tends to affect the market, then this would probably provide a sell signal. And if it does, we can probably ride this move back down here. However, EN is a messy pair right now. Obviously, you can see right here that it's just been consolidating within this structure. So it's been consolidating sideways. So until it breaks above it, up to like over here, or it breaks below here, it's probably just going to continue ranging within this little zone. So looking at current price, it's currently within this zone right here. So this upper zone is going to be 1.72417, and this lower zone right here is going to be 1.71914. So we do have a bullish bias. However, I think it's going to reject off this point and come back down, or it might even push higher. It might push up to this point and then maybe reject off here and come back down. And you can see right here that this happened in the past. Right here, price came up, tested the same structure that we've identified right here, followed by a sell signal. Once this sell signal closed below this structure right here, it pushed all the way down to this point right here. And if you took that trade, it would have been a gain of 90 pips. So that's a nice little move right there if that ends up happening. However, we won't really know until this actually closes out and that actually confirms that that move's going to happen, because the complete opposite can happen where it breaks above this structure and then it just continues up even further. So it continues up, breaks this structure, continues up from there, and just continues pushing. So there's two different scenarios that can play out. It can either continue up like how it is right here to follow the bullish bias from last week, or it can reject off this point, either this structure. It can either reject from this point or reject from this point. And then once it's followed by a sell signal, we can anticipate that to continue down even further. So looking at EN over here, that's probably what I see happening. But we'll see how it plays out once we enter London session. Just a reminder, it's only Sunday, market just opened. There's barely any markets that are open right now. So volatility is very low. We're probably not going to see any real movement until London session later tonight. So let's move on to the next one. I'm just going to try to zoom through these quickly so that you guys can have these structures. And then tomorrow we'll pick up once the market is back into full swing, because right now there's obviously not much to look at, especially with a lot of the news that has happened over the weekend. We're going to see some unusual movements until all the markets are fully back open for the week. So let's turn on the K²SR indicator, hide this. These zones right here look perfectly fine. They all line up with current price. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to expand this zone up so that we have one full zone right there. It makes it a lot easier to look at. we have this zone right here. These line up perfectly. And then this upper zone is on the higher time frame. So let's turn this off right here. Price is currently within this structure right here. So this upper structure is going to be 1.23234, and this lower structure right here is going to be 1.22172. So right here, price can either continue up, and it can probably range within this structure. But if price breaks above it, then we can probably anticipate it to shoot up even further from this point. So price breaks the structure, it'll probably continue up further to retest this structure right here. However, if it pulls back down right here, or even if it pulls back down from where it currently is and closes below here, it might come down from here. So this is scenario number 2. Either it pushes up and continues further, or it either pulls back down and swings back in this direction to retest this structure down here. Let's turn on the momentum indicator to see where the direction of momentum is pushing. Looks like it's still in the bullish momentum. Also, with the new COVID news, the US dollar is probably going to be weak. So like I mentioned, they're voting on the new stimulus tonight, actually, right here. So lawmakers will move to vote on the proposal along with a full year government spending bill as soon as Sunday night. So if they decide on this tonight, then we could probably anticipate this to push up further because it's just going to weaken the US dollar. You know, if they're printing $900 billion, that's a lot of money, and it's just going to weaken the US dollar more and more. So if that happens, we're probably going to see this push up even further. So my bias is for a bullish move right here, and I think this is probably what's going to happen. But we'll see how this plays out as we, continue on further into this week, and then we will, analyze it even further once the market is back into full swing tomorrow. Flynn's asking, Shawn, is US 30 going to shoot up once the stimulus bill is passed tomorrow? I wouldn't say that necessarily. I'm not sure if that's going to directly affect it. I mean, we'll see how that plays out. But, if I'm sure you're familiar with how I trade US 30. I don't like to analyze ahead of time, guys. Like, I don't like to analyze news, and I don't like to analyze ahead of time. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to wait until the market actually opens tomorrow, which would be over here at 6:30 a.m. And then once that happens, we'll see how it plays out. Obviously, the stimulus bill, once it's passed, it can move in either direction, really. It just depends on where they want to push price. Because the thing is, obviously, a lot of people are anticipating it to push up, right? So what could happen is that they can push it up a little bit, lure people in for some buys, and then they spike price down to stop everyone out before it ends up shooting up even further. Right? That could possibly happen. That's why I don't like to analyze ahead of time, especially for an asset like US 30, because it's such an erratic asset where it can literally go up and down very quickly. And unless your stop loss is pretty wide, you're probably going to get stopped out. But yeah, I mean, we'll probably see it go up, but we probably won't see a smooth move because look at this move that happened yesterday. This dropped from here. It dropped nearly 3,300 pips. And then all of a sudden, within like 30 minutes, it went from down here all the way up here for another gain of 3,600 pips. So it pretty much just dropped, and then it filled that whole drop right there, and then now it's pushing back down. So we're probably going to see some very unusual movement from now until market open tomorrow. So I'm probably not going to trade this or even look at it from a serious perspective until we reach market open tomorrow, because a lot can happen. Like, a lot can happen from now until tomorrow morning when they release all these news events that are going to affect it directly. Let's see, Flynn said best case scenario, the news comes out during London. So by the time it's 6:30 PST, all manipulation, not necessarily, because you just got the manipulation from the London market, right? What happens when the US market opens? People are still going to be speculating over here. So the manipulation doesn't necessarily end because we enter US market, because that news is probably not going to be released until tomorrow anyways, right? They're probably going to vote on it, and CNBC is probably not going to be talking about it until tomorrow morning. So the manipulation probably wouldn't even happen until the US market tomorrow. So there isn't really a best case scenario, Flynn, for this. You're really gambling if you're going to be taking a trade here, because if you take a buy, price can easily spike down and stop you out. Vice versa, if you take a sell, price can spike up and stop you out as well. So I personally wouldn't trade it right now. Obviously you guys know how I trade. I trade off probabilities. If it's a very high probable probability trade where, you know, it's probable that it's going to go in my direction, I'll take the trade. I'm not going to gamble and just bet on the news. That's why I don't even trade news, because it's literally a gamble. Even if the news is good, doesn't necessarily mean it's going to push price up, because they're not going to make that easy on you, right? If it was that easy, everyone would make profit off US 30. However, majority of people don't make profit off US 30. They actually lose a lot of money because it's such an expensive asset to trade. So, Flynn, I'd be careful if you're looking at US 30, because you're literally gambling at this point. You know, I would wait for all of that, like all this noise to pretty much be over, and then I would try to catch the trade once everything is pretty much smoothed out. Because looking at US 30 right here, you know, comparing this move from last week, like you can see it barely moved last week. It moved about within, you know, a day or two, it probably moved like 1,000 pips. And then all of a sudden, or let me see, within like 2 days, it probably moved about, you know, like 2,000 pips, right? Because we held that trade for some time, you know, our trade last week. And then all of a sudden it drops from moving 2,000 pips within like 4 days up until like in 30 minutes, it decides to drop like 3,000 pips. So I personally wouldn't trade it until, you know, all the noise has pretty much cleared up, because you're just taking a gamble right now. Because even though it's moving slow, because market hasn't even opened yet, you can probably see some crazy spikes once we enter, like, you know, something like London over here. It'll probably spike up or it'll spike down, but you really don't know which direction it'll really move in. So I personally wouldn't trade it unless you have some sort of, you know, inside vision of like how it's going to move, because my guess is you're either going to get lucky or you're going to get really unlucky if you decide to trade it right now, because we haven't even entered US market yet. So until they open, I wouldn't trade it. But if you want to, I mean, good luck. We'll see how that plays out. You know, if you do take it, keep us updated, because I definitely would want to see how it goes. Flynn said US 30 on Sunday is just manipulation and greed. Exactly, Flynn. That's why I wouldn't trade it yet, because, you know, like I mentioned, US 30 is a US asset. If you're trading it during after hours, which is, you know, the market's still moving, but it's not necessarily moving how it's supposed to, because we haven't opened yet. Once it opens here at 6:30, when the stock market opens, then we'll probably see some smoother movement where it goes up smoothly or down smoothly. So I would just wait. Yeah, I would just wait too, Flynn. So good decision on that. Maybe you could play around with it on demo and see how that plays out, because then maybe that'll make you feel better if you, you know, your analysis plays out where you think it's going to shoot up. But I wouldn't trade any real money on it just yet, unless you're trading something very, very small, where it's not really going to affect your account too heavily. But okay, so let's, Business Bank is saying US 500 should go down. Yeah, so maybe you guys can discuss that, Flynn and Business Bank, because Flynn's saying it's going to go up while Business Bank is saying it's going to go down. So you guys might have, you know, opposite analysis, and you guys can see how that goes. But like I mentioned, the stimulus could affect it one way or another. It's not necessarily going to guarantee it's going to go up or guarantee that it's going to go down, but we'll see how that plays out once the US market opens tomorrow morning. Let's go back to the charts over here, Forex. I think I analyzed Euro USD already, so we're going to move on to the next one, GA. Looking at GA over here, I'm going to zoom out, turn on the K²SR indicator, see if these zones line up with current price. It looks like we don't have this middle zone right here. I'm going to delete that. And this zone right here is actually way different. So I'm going to go ahead and redraw that down here. Flynn, you're funny, man. Flynn said, Business Bank, listen to me, I'm right, you're wrong. Yeah, I mean, you guys have different analysis. It's really up to you guys to, you know, vet your own analysis, make sure it's right. Because a lot of things can happen right now. There's no one way of seeing things, especially with all the news happening in the market. It's really it's a coin toss at this point. So price for GA is currently within these two zones right here. This upper zone is going to be 1.78655, and this lower zone right here is going to be 1.74894. So what it looks like right here is price is probably going to continue down. So we have this sell bias right here. You can see nice rejection off this point, followed by the sell signal. This is probably going to continue down further to test this structure. And then once it tests the structure, it'll probably either break below it and continue further, or it will reject off this point and range within this zone again further. So we'll see how that plays out. However, I do have a bearish bias for this, and we'll see how this plays out up until tomorrow once market opens back up. That's funny. You guys crack me up, guys. Thanks for being interactive in the chat, because if not, I'd probably be talking to myself all day. Looking at GCAT over here, I'm going to go ahead and look at the zones. Looks like everything here is pretty much perfectly fine. Yeah, all the zones look pretty much the same from last week. This one adjusted up a little bit, move that up a little further. Looking below here, all of these zones are pretty much the same right there, and it looks fine. So looking at GCAT over here, price is currently within these two structures. This upper structure right here is going to be 1.72002, and this lower structure down here is going to be 1.70084. So again, this upper structure is going to be 1.72002, and this lower structure right here is going to be 1.70084. So that's it for GCAT right there. Let's move on to the next one. I'm trying to speed through this, guys, because I know that a lot of you guys just want the zones so that you guys can get on with your analysis. So let me go ahead and zoom out from here. Looks like these zones are, for the most part, different. So let me just go ahead and redraw these zones because they look a lot different. So I'm going to go ahead and just delete that and redraw my zones off this point right here. So looking at this right here, this looks like a zone right there. And then we got this one right there. That one right there. We got this one down here. This one over here. And this last zone way down here. So it looks like the pound is really weak. It was following the new COVID news this morning. That's or not this morning, this weekend, that identified that there is a new COVID strain that was found in the UK. So looking at price right here, all the GBPs are just coming crashing down, guys, like heavy. So looking at this right here, price is currently within these two structures. This upper structure is going to be 1.9. Sorry, it is 1.19125, and this lower structure right here is going to be 1.18537. Again, that's 1.18357. So if price breaks and closes below this structure, it's probably going to test this bottom structure right here. And then if it closes below here, we can anticipate this to come for a free fall way down here. The reason for this is because, like I've mentioned, time and time again, the Swiss franc is a safe haven currency. So with, the pound going to shit right now because of the new COVID strain that was found, and, all flights being canceled, the country going into full lockdown, this is going to continue down further. So if that happens and it breaks below here, we can anticipate a free fall way down to this structure over here for a nice sell position, because obviously all the pound, all the pound pairs are going down because of the new news. So we could probably see this drop even further. So just keep an eye on this. If it breaks the structure and this structure down here closes below, we can anticipate a nice short position right there for about 100 pips. So keep that in mind, guys. All the GBP pairs are just going down pretty heavy. Looking at GJ right here, same situation. It's dropping down extremely heavily. Man, I might just add a bunch of sell orders for that and see how that plays out right now. I might even just, yeah, geez, I'm like tempted to take a sell position here, but the main problem is I don't want to jump the gun and then it ends up swinging back on me and then stops me out for whatever reason, right? I don't like taking these speculative trades. Even though they look like very good trades, they might spike right back up and then bite me in the ass. So that's why I'm not going to take that trade, but we will, we'll see how that plays out. Let me go ahead and turn on the K² indicator right here. I'm going to see if everything lines up. Yeah, these upper structures are perfectly fine. And then we got this lower structure right here. So price is currently testing that lower structure. It's within these two zones right here. So this upper zone is going to be 138.898. And this lower structure right here is going to be 138.8544. Again, that's 138.544. So if price breaks the structure and closes below here, we can anticipate this to drop even further right here and test this structure right here for a nice drop of 100 pips right there. So this could be a nice sell, but until it breaks below that structure, I'm not going to take the trade. So we will continue watching and see how this continues as we move forward. So you guys have the zones there for GJ. Let's move on to the next one, GN over here. Wow, this looks like a nice drop right here. I might even take this sell right here. Let's see. Yeah, we do have a sell momentum right there. I might even just take this trade. So I haven't called this trade yet, guys, but I might just take it myself personally to see how it drops from there, because we have a nice move down this way. 100 pips. All right, I'm just going to take this trade, guys. I don't know if you guys want to take it. I'm just taking these speculative trades right now, guys, because of how the market's moving and everything. But yeah, my AU trade is looking nice. I'm just going to take a sell right here, see how this plays out. Like I mentioned, guys, these are all speculative trades. So don't expect too much out of these. But let's see. If I take a standard lot, I just want to see how much I'm risking off this. All right, yeah, it's not horrible, but I'll take that. I don't have no margin for that. That's the downside of using these regulated brokers. The leverage is horrible, but I mean, it protects your account, so it's like makes it like literally impossible for you to blow your account. So I'm not going to take that trade just yet. I probably shouldn't even take that trade because I'm taking way too much risk off that. But this is my risky account, so that's why I take all these like dumb trades on there, because I can easily flip them very quickly. So looking at GN over here, this upper zone's fine. This middle zone's fine. This middle zone's good too. That one's good too. Everything looks pretty much fine here. I'm just going to move this down a little bit because obviously this zone extended down further. Same with this one right here. It looks like this extended down a bit as well. So maybe it was a good idea that I didn't take that trade. I would probably want to wait for this to actually close below that structure before I end up taking that trade right there, because it can reject right off it. So good thing my margin was too low where I couldn't take that trade, because this could have easily just ranged within the zone before coming down further. But if price breaks below this structure right here and closes, like at this point right here, then we'd have full confirmation that it's probably going to continue down even further to this structure right here. So that provided for a nice short position right here for about 240 pips. So looks good right there for GN. I'm gonna go ahead and leave that alone for now. Price is currently within these two zones right here. This upper zone is gonna be 1.89416. And this lower zone right here is going to be 1.88477. So if price breaks that price point right there, closes below it, then you can take that sell and pretty much ride this thing all the way down here. So this could be good. That's it for GN right there. Let me go on to GU. Same with all the GBP pairs that I just went over. They're all going to shit, guys. It's dropping heavily due to the news recently. Let me go ahead and see if the SR lines up with this right here. It looks like it's perfectly fine from these points. I believe this is from the upper, from the higher time frame, but everything else down here looks perfectly fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and hide that right there. Price is currently rejecting off this lower zone. So it's currently within these two zones right here. This upper zone is gonna be 1.34180, and this lower zone down here, I'm just gonna skip this one so you can identify this lower one right here, which is going to be 1.33902. So if price breaks this structure right here and closes below it, we can probably anticipate this to drop even further to this next zone right here for a short position, reaching about 60 pips to 100 pips down here. So we'll see how that plays out. But like I mentioned, we'll have to wait until the market fully opens so that we can identify, how price is going to move for the rest of the week. So looking at this right here, that's it for GU. Let's move on to the next one, NZD CAD. John said trading US 30 during Asia session is just an exercise in pain. Exactly. I don't recommend trading US 30 during Asia session, guys, because there's just no volatility, guys. I wouldn't trade it during now because you're probably going to get stuck in a trade. So this is what's going to happen, guys. If you guys take a trade during Asia session, it's probably just going to, you know, consolidate for a bit, for a long time. Actually, it's going to consolidate for a bit sideways. And then once we enter London session, which would be, you know, right here exactly midnight, if you're in a sell position, you might get screwed because this might spike right up. However, if you're in a buy position, you might get screwed as well because this can spike right back down. So I personally wouldn't trade it because there's not enough volatility during Asia session. You're just gambling at this point because, you know, it's just consolidating this way, bouncing between this little zone, bouncing up and forth until we reach London Open, which should be right here. And then it can either spike above or spike below. So I personally wouldn't trade during Asia session. I've tried to do it, guys. I've tried to scalp during Asia session, and you'll get lucky a few times. But then once you get closer to London session, your luck is going to run out very, very, very quickly. It's happened to me a lot of times where I got stuck in a trade because it's just going sideways and I can't get out because I'm in negative. Obviously, I don't want to cut my losses. And then it ends up spiking the opposite direction. So I would be careful trading this during, you know, Asia session. So let's go back to the Forex pairs again. I've got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 more pairs to go through. And then we'll be done with this chart analysis, guys. So if you guys have any questions, just put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'll be back live tomorrow for our live trading once all of the markets have opened for the week. And then we'll kick off the US 30 as we usually do. So going back to NZD CAD over here, I'm going to go ahead and turn on the K²SR indicator. And it looks like all the zones here. I'm just going to redraw everything. So it looks like it's a little messy. So I'm just going to go ahead and redraw NZD CAD. Let's go ahead and draw this upper zone right here. And this, you know, this is I'm just going to create one big zone right here. It's kind of messy. The NZD pairs are generally pretty messy, guys. So don't worry if like you don't know where to draw these zones, because I don't even know where to draw them either. I kind of just connect them together because the NZD pairs are a little funky compared to the other ones that have been moving a lot smoother, you know, throughout the month. So I'm just going to connect them into bigger zones so I don't have to worry about them. It's better to be safe than sorry, you know, if you have too many zones that are not covering too much of an area. So that actually looks pretty nice once I connect them into like fuller zones. Price is currently within these two zones right here. So looking at NZD CAD, I'll give you this lower zone and this upper zone so you can identify this. If price breaks above it, you can probably take a buy and ride that above. Or if price breaks below it, you can continue that ride downwards. So price is currently within this K²SR zone. This upper zone is going to be 0.91227, and this lower zone down here is going to be 0.90970. So that's it for NZD CAD. Move on to the next one, NZD CHF. Let's see if this is any cleaner. Let me go ahead and turn on the K²SR indicator and then hide this. So it looks like the zones are, yeah, for the most part, they look fine up here. The only difference are these lower zones down here. So I'm gonna go ahead and fix this right here. That looks good from there. This looks fine right there, and this looks fine right there as well. I don't think there's a zone down here, so that's perfectly fine. I'm gonna go ahead and hide that. And there we go. So let me just hide this. Wait, did we have an NZD CHF trade? I'm just gonna delete that. I think that trade's already done. It's an old alert. So looking at current price right now, it's within these two zones. This lower zone right here is going to be 0.62616. Again, that's 0.62616. And this upper zone right here is going to be 0.62916. So if price continues to, actually, let's look at the momentum indicator. We have a bearish momentum right here, right? So if this closes below this zone, we can anticipate this to test this structure right here for a gain of about 20 pips. I personally would not call this trade because it's just too small of a gap. The spread's 5.2 pips, so you have to pay the spread going in, pay the spread going out. That's already 10 pips right there. You're only gonna have about a 10 pip move that you can lock in profits from. So it's not really worth the risk. So I personally wouldn't call it, but if it does close below this structure, we can anticipate it to push down to here. And then if it continues to push down further, then I would take the trade right here because I would like to take this sell for, you know, a gain of 130 pips, right? That's better than the little 10 pip win you can make right here. So that's something that we'd be looking out for. But like I mentioned, the market's not fully open yet. So volatility is very low, and it's going to be hard to really catch any good positions at this time. Let's go ahead and move on to the last couple pairs. Next one is NZD-JPY. This is dropping due to the COVID news, like I mentioned earlier. I'm going to go ahead and see if everything is still fine right here. I'm just going to move this up a little bit. There we go. And then let's see any lower ones right here. Everything else looks perfectly fine as we continue to look down further. Let's move this down a little bit. All right, there we go. I'm gonna go ahead and hide this indicator. Price is currently ranging within these two zones right here. This lower zone is gonna be 73.353, and this upper zone right here is gonna be 73.976. So if price breaks this structure, then we can look for a sell. However, if price rejects right off this point, which it might, it'll probably just range within this area before either breaking above it or swinging back down and possibly either continuing within that range or breaking below and continuing down further. So NJ is a bit of a iffy pair to look at right now. Due to a lot of the COVID news, it's probably going to continue down if the rest of the JPY pairs continue down as well. But we'll just have to wait and see how, that plays out, with time. So we'll leave that alone for now, but you guys have those zones for NZD JPY. Let's move on to NZD USD. Let's see if these pairs, if these zones line up with last week's zones over here. So looking at this over here, we might be able to just connect one big zone down here instead of drawing so many zones because, price is so far above. These zones down here are pretty irrelevant. There's just no point in us really focusing on these right here because of how, price is so far from it that we don't anticipate even to be trading down here. So let's create one big zone right there. I'm going to confirm these zones right here. These look perfectly fine. Go ahead and just draw one zone down here. Or actually, we can do this. Create this zone right here. Let me see how much space is in between these two zones, because if it's not enough space, there's no point. We just create one big zone instead. It's only 20 pips, not really worth it. I'm just going to draw this further down. And I think that should be good. All right, so NZD USD is currently within this zone right here. This upper zone is going to be 0.71206, and this lower zone down here is going to be 0.70543. So if price continues to drop from this point to here and closes below the zone, then it'll probably continue down further. However, like I mentioned, I think the US dollar is going to continue to be weak because of the new stimulus bill that's going to be passed. So I think what's going to happen here is it might come down a little bit, might test the structure, and then it's probably going to shoot right back up at some point. Yeah, because I'm going to buy for AU. So I think it's either going to come down to here, or it might not even come down that far. It might come down to somewhere over here, and then it might swing right back up as soon as that stimulus bill is passed. So once they vote on this and it passes, which is going to have to pass eventually, guys. We haven't had a stimulus bill in a long time. It's way overdue. It's going to have to pass at some point, maybe within this week. So if that happens, we could probably see this shoot right back up from there. So that's my bias for NZD USD and all the USD pairs in general. You guys have NU right there. We have a couple more pairs. Let's see. We have 1, 2, 3 left. And then once we wrap this up, we can, prepare for the week. So looking at USD CAD right here, I'm gonna turn on the K2SR indicator. It looks like the zones are pretty much fine for the most part. I'm just going to adjust this one right here because it kind of pushed down a little bit. Other than that, it looks like this has disappeared. Delete that. Everything else looks perfectly fine, guys. So it looks good right here. I'm just going to go ahead and adjust this zone right here because it kind of branched out quite a bit. And there we go. I'm going to hide this right here. Price is currently within these two zones right here. If it breaks above it, then we can probably anticipate it to shoot up further. However, if it shoots down from here, which is probably what's going to happen, when the stimulus bill gets passed, then this would probably be the bias. But looking at current price right now, this zone right here is going to be 1.28167, and this lower zone right here is going to be 1.2789. So if price breaks above here, then maybe you can take a buy. However, like I mentioned, once that bill gets passed, it's probably going to drop. So I probably wouldn't take a buy here. I'd probably wait for it to possibly reject off this point, swing below here. Then it'll probably be going down for a nice free fall from this point all the way down here. For, you know, a nice gain of, let's see if you take a short position at this point, for about 140 pips, you know, upwards to nearly 250 pips down here. So we'll see how this plays out, but I definitely think that this is going to, you know, possibly drop. Yeah, Flynn said looks like a perfect UCAD buy opportunity once it breaks that zone. So that's what I would, you know, necessarily think would happen here. But like I mentioned with the stimulus bill, once this gets passed and they start printing money, it's just going to weaken the US dollar. So I wouldn't take that jump right away. I would wait until news, like until the market fully opens tomorrow for the US market, because last thing you want to do is enter a buy position and it pushes up slightly. And then as soon as the bill gets passed, it comes crashing down, right? So if you're going to take a buy there, which, you know, I'm perfectly fine with, if you take a buy there, just make sure to move your stop loss and profit whenever possible, because you don't want to hold on to this trade too long, especially with the bill getting passed soon. That's just going to kill the US dollar more than it's already been killed this whole time. If you look at UCAD right here, it's been dropping since, wow, look, see, it's been dropping ever since March. So when COVID happened, you see how weak the US dollar has been. It's just going to get weaker once the more stimulus gets passed, because the first stimulus was passed, you know, around here, March until June. So every time it dropped, it was like new stimulus news coming out where it just weakened the US dollar because it kept printing money. And every time the US keeps printing money, it just weakens the value of it because there's so much quantity of US dollars around, you know? So this would cause some crazy movements in the market. Flynn said, if martial law is declared in the US, that would surely drop the US dollar, right? 100%. That's kind of what happened during COVID. You know, when COVID happened and everything was closed down, you know, the streets were empty. It was probably like around here from like March up until June, right? This is when the US was completely closed. When that happened, you know, the US dollar just dropped heavily. It dropped from here. Let's see how many pips. From this point in March from COVID up until June, it dropped 1,353 pips. So, you know, that could probably happen again here if things get worse. I don't think things are going to get that worse because we already have the vaccine out. But if things get worse, then yeah, we could probably see it drop even further, at least from this point up until, you know, down here to the next structure. So we'll see how that plays out. But like I mentioned, we'll just have to see how people react to the news that comes out with time. So we'll see how that plays out. Let me go check the next pair, which is USD CHF. I think this is going to continue down further to test that structure, same as the other USD pairs as well. So looking at this here, let me go ahead and draw the zones. Let's delete this because we don't have that trade running. K²SR. Let me go ahead and zoom out and see if everything lines up. So these zones up here look perfectly fine. These look good. This looks good as well. That looks good. These down here look good as well. So we have another zone that was created right here. We can draw this point right here. And yeah, that actually looks good. So I'm going to go ahead and hide the K²SR. Price is currently within these two zones right here. This upper zone is going to be 0.88695, and this lower zone right here is going to be 0.87954. So if price continues to drop further from here, we can probably see it test this lower structure right here. And then if it breaks below here, we can probably see a nice free fall from that point as well. And looking at USD CHF, like I mentioned, the CHF is a safe haven currency. So with all the bad COVID news coming out, this is going to directly affect the US dollar. So if the stimulus bill gets passed, COVID gets worse, then we can probably see this drop super far down, all the way up to this point, or even further from there. So we'll see how that plays out. But like I mentioned, we just have to, you know, see how the market reacts to the new stimulus bill and the new COVID news that's getting, you know, pretty much piled on top of us as we start the trading week. So let me go ahead and take a look at UJ. This is our last pair for the night, guys. If you guys have any other questions, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, I'll be signing off for the rest of the day. I'll probably give you guys some updates as I look for trades, but I don't think we're going to be taking any trades tonight due to the heavy news that's going to be happening throughout the night. I'm probably going to wait until the stimulus bill is passed. Once that's passed, then we'll see what happens from there. However, until then, it's just going to be a risky time to be trading. Unless if it's moving down, then I'll probably take the trade. If not, then I'm probably going to hold off. But let me go ahead and make sure the zones here are proper for UJ. Looking at UJ right here, I'm going to hide that. That's fine. These upper zones are perfect. Middle zones are good. Lower zones are okay down here. Let's see if fix this. There we go. Yeah, other than that, everything is good. Looking at UJ over here, price is currently within these two zones. This upper zone is going to be it's 103.654, and this lower zone right here is going to be 103.180. So if price breaks this structure right here and closes below it, then we can anticipate it to drop even further. But until that happens, we're not going to take any trades, guys. We're going to be safe, and we're going to, wait for the opportunity to present itself. So that's pretty much it for all of the Forex pairs. I'm going to go ahead and just scan for any possible trades before we log off for the session. So let me just scan through these real quick. Nothing there, nothing there, nothing there. Oh, there's our odd NZD, guys. Very, very nice. About to hit full TP for 60 pips. This trade was called on December 10th. So we've been holding this for about 10 days now. If you guys are still holding it, I got out at TP2 for 30 pips. But if you guys are still holding it, looks like it's about to hit full TP right there. Odd USD right here, just bouncing around at this point. CAD CHF, nothing there. CAD JPY, nothing there. CHF JPY, nothing there. Euro odd, nothing there. Nothing there. Nice. There we go, guys. Full TP right here for odd NCD for plus 60 pips. Let me just give that update in the group real quick. Looks good from there. Okay, so let me go ahead and give you guys this update. How much was it? 60 pips? Yeah, 60 pips. Euro CAD looks good right there. Go ahead and post that over there. Give you guys that update. All right, so there we go with that. Delete this real quick. Yeah, all right, so we look good right there. Everything looks pretty nice. Very nice profit off that trade. So let me just scan through these trades again, see if there's any possible entries. CHF JPY might be a nice entry right here if it closes below there. We have about 12 minutes left on this candle. I'll take a look at that if that provides an entry. Otherwise, we might be holding off until market fully opens tomorrow. So let's see, Euro USD. I probably wouldn't take this. Like I mentioned, I think the US dollar is going to be weak. So I wouldn't take this sell here, even if it closes below that point. And this is me putting in other factors into analyzing these trades. GA over here, nothing there. This looks like it would have been a great entry. I wish I would have taken this trade because price broke the structure right here. We had a sell signal right there. And then we could have taken a short position for a gain of, wow, look at that. Set 275 pips, 275. Yeah, this would have been really nice right there. We did miss that trade. This was on Friday, I think. Yeah, on the 17th. That's why we didn't take it. It was too close into close the market. Wow, look at these drops right here. Yeah, the pound is just it's going to hell, guys. It's literally dropping crazy heavy right here. I might even enter this trade right here. Let me see. Damn, my AU is like in some drawdown right now, but I'm fine with that. I'll let it keep playing out. But yeah, this GA looks really nice. See how many pips from this point. 100 pips. Wow, that would have been a good sell there. This stupid AU trade is like eating up my margin though, so I can't take this trade right now, unfortunately. But it does look like it could be nice. Nice. Yeah, Flynn's in that GN that we were discussing earlier. It's a nice drop across the across the board right here, guys. Wow. See, I wouldn't take these trades right now currently because the problem with this is that it can pull right back up. I wouldn't want to take these trades because it's, you know, obviously you don't want to get in at the wrong time. This would be way too late. This already dropped, look, 150 pips. So if you enter this trade here and then it spikes up, you're gonna get stopped out and you're just gonna take a loss off that trade. So I wouldn't recommend entering, like chasing these trades, guys. If you guys are in that sell already, then perfectly fine. If not, it's just too risky for you guys to really, you know, hop into that right away. GN over here, this looks nice right here, actually. Flynn, I might actually enter this trade with you, bro, because this could be a nice little drop from this point. See, 100 pips. Wow, look at that. Okay, I might just enter this with you, Flynn. This is gonna be a little speculative trade that we're gonna be taking right here. So looking at that right there, I'm just gonna enter market. Oh, nice. So I was able to fill it with whatever margin I had left. I'm probably gonna call this trade for you guys as well. Let me see if I could call it. Oh man. All right, let me see. So this might be a decent trade right here. I'm probably gonna hold off on calling it as an official entry until it actually closes. Or should I just call it now? Huh? Screw it, just call it. Give it to everyone. Yeah, this might be a decent entry. So I might just call it right now. Let you guys take this trade with us. And then we'll see how this plays out. All right, I'm just gonna call it for you guys in the premium here if you guys are in the premium group. And since you guys are sitting in with us to, you know, for this weekly chart analysis, I'll just give it to you guys as well. So let me just get this set up right here. Once I have it set up, we can, I'll give you guys parameters. You guys can take it with us. CD. I know this is like we're entering this trade a little early, guys, but I think it's going to continue dropping. That's why I think we should just enter it now before we miss the move and it drops too far down and then we lose out on profits and everyone gets upset. And you guys know how it is. So we got that right there, that right there. All right, guys, so here are the parameters for GN right here if you guys want to take it. I posted it in the premium, but since you guys are here spending your Sunday night with me, I'm going to go ahead and give you guys the parameters for that. So looking at GN right here, entries at 1.88407, or you guys can enter market right now if you guys like. I'm already in the trade, so if you guys want to enter it with us, go ahead and enter that, make some money with me and Flynn. And then, yeah, our target right here is target 1 is going to be 1.88157. Target 2 is going to be 1.87902. Target 3 is going to be 1.87407. And our stop loss is going to be 1.89407. So remember to adjust your stop loss, guys. Use the K² simple exit strategy. And that should be good for you guys. All right, so that looks good. I'm going to go ahead and set up my alerts. I'm just going to give a FYI, our GBP NZD trade is now active. Called it live during the live session. Just want to give you guys an update so that you guys can see what's up. You know, I'm going to share it with you guys in the free group too, so everyone can just take the trade already, and let's kick off this week on a good note. So there goes the trade right there, guys. I'm going to go ahead and set up my alerts real quick. We're currently in the trade already. It's active. And this will be our one speculative trade for the day. TP1 for 25 pips. And I think this might be it for a while, guys, because I don't want to take too many trades and then just, you know, add too much risk on when we shouldn't be screwing around like this. But we'll see how this, you know, ends up playing out. We have about 6 minutes left on this clock anyway, so I think it's going to continue down. But we will, obviously, we'll see how this plays out. I have my TP like way lower, guys. So if you guys want to just, you know, if you guys want to extend your TP even lower, you guys are more than welcome. It's just, I don't know if it's going to drop that far. I'm just speculating. So I'm going to move my stop loss as it continues to move down. But, you know, obviously I think it's going to hit at least 100 pips. So we will see how that plays out, guys. Got my alert set up. Let's kick off this trading week on a good note. Let me just keep scanning down real quick if there's any other entries. I'm not going to take this because I don't think the US dollar is going to be that strong. NZDCHF, this could be a nice drop as well. It's only about 25 pips. Like I mentioned, spread is too wide, so I wouldn't take that trade. NJ looks, it's still in that zone. It hasn't broken structure. This is going to retrace up a little bit before it ends up dropping down, like I mentioned earlier. Same with UJ right here. If this breaks below the structure and we get a sell signal, like we, let me see if an example for that, like we did over here, then we can probably anticipate it to drop down, right? So same situation over here. If it breaks the structure, we anticipate it to drop down further, but it hasn't done that yet, so we're not going to take that trade. Other than that, I think that's about it. Let's see. Flynn said, I just started the FTMO challenge today. The extra 10 days is a great bonus, 100%. That's great that you're doing it now, Flynn, because there's a ton of profits to be made, guys. So I think that's about it. I don't see anything else for us to, really enter at this time. So I think that is pretty much it for now, guys. So if you guys have any questions, just feel free to reach out on Telegram. Otherwise, I will catch you guys tomorrow for our live trading session during the New York session. So I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Hopefully you guys had a great weekend. Let's get ready for some profits and let's kick off this trading week on a great note. So yeah, guys, thanks for showing up. Hopefully I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning during my live session. Otherwise, I will catch you guys every other day during this week as we trade. I know Christmas is coming up, I think on, it's gonna be Christmas already. Christmas is coming on Thursday. On Christmas Eve is on Thursday. So we're probably gonna be trading a little slower during this week. Otherwise, we're going to try to lock in as much profit as possible, but we might be calling this week a little early on the 23rd on Wednesday because volatility is going to die down completely on the 24th and 25th as those are major holidays worldwide. So look, all the markets are going to be closed. There's not going to be any entries for us to take. So it's just going to be a bit of a waste of time for us to be trading during that time. So we'll probably be closing this week out a little early. Hopefully you guys sit in on all my sessions from Monday to Wednesday because we're going to be locking in some profits up until then so that we can, pretty much carry us over for the remaining days of the week. But yeah, guys, thanks for showing up. I really appreciate it. If you guys haven't already, please like the stream just so that we can help out the YouTube algorithm. If you guys had some value out of this, just remember I do this completely free. I want to make sure you guys are all profitable with me and the rest of the K2 team. And then, yeah, that's about it, guys. I'll catch you guys tomorrow morning. Until then, let's make some profits.